Hello everyone, welcome to Winged Paper Crafting. My name is Angel Fitch. If you're new around here, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. I'm so glad you've all decided to join me today. So today we're going to do our 8th and final set of January alternatives for the January 2026 Paper Pumpkin Kit called Special Delivery. Here are the 9 cards that you could have made had you done them as intended. But around here we don't do things as intended, so we're going to change these up a bit. So getting the things out to get started with our first one, if I could ask you, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, I would really appreciate it if you did. And go ahead and hit that like button while you're thinking about it. So we're going to start this first one with a card base made out of Blueberry Bushel. This is a color blue I don't use very often, but I thought this would be appropriate for this one. So this is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. We're going to give this a good burnish so that it lays flat. A piece of white for the inside that's 4 by 5 1/4. I have a piece of boho blue here that we're going to use as a layer that I have cut down to 4 by 5 1/4. I'm going to turn these this way because this card is going to have a landscape orientation to it, and if I don't put it that way, I will forget and stamp the inside the wrong direction. So then we've got a couple of these postage stamp pieces that came in the kit. We're going to use 3 of those, and I cut 2 more mats out of one of the envelopes that came in the kit that we're going to use as kind of a mat for these smaller ones. This is a banner piece that I cut out of the Stylish Shaped dies. So we're going to stamp on that here in a minute. So let's go ahead and get our first layer down. So let's get some glue here. We may have to dig out some more glue here before this is over, because I think this one has just about had it. Okay, so let me make sure I've got this so that it opens correctly. Yes, I do. So I'm going to put this down here. We're just going to center that right up there, trying to get all of our edges even. We'll give this a good push so that it sticks down there. Now, these 2 pieces that I cut out of the envelope are going to be a layer for our 2 smallest postage stamps, and then this bigger one's going to go here in the middle. So let's see about getting these down first. So I'm just going to take this and center it right here in the middle of this piece that I cut out of one of the envelopes. So I just want it, centered top, bottom, and left, right. Okay, so that looks pretty good. And we'll get this one. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing with this. I'm just going to center this up. And let's see, that looks pretty good. So we'll push that down. Now, let's go ahead and get these down here. So I'm going to start with this bigger one, and I'm going to put it as centered in the middle of the envelope as I can, middle of this card base that I can. I am going to put it in the upper quadrant of the base though, because I want room to put our sentiment strip down here at the bottom. So I'm not going to push this down too hard. I'm not quite ready to commit just yet. Looks like we might need to move that a little to the left, but let's see what transpires here. I think maybe I'm just going to move it just a tad bit to the left. If I can get it to move. It's kind of stuck in that one corner. I just want a little more space between these. Maybe not quite that far. Alright, now let's get this one down. Hopefully we got enough glue to get this last piece down, and then I'll dig out another bottle of glue. All right, so we'll get this here. So basically what I'm looking for is the same on each edge and then the same between all three pieces, or as close as I can get. So that looks pretty good. Let's see. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and commit and push these down. Although this one looks just a tad bit crooked at the top there. All right, there we go. All right, so let me push these down so we're good and stuck. Okay, now let's do our stamping right quick. So I'm going to do, out of the stamp set that came in the kit, we're going to do Just For You on our outside piece here. And I pulled an old Happy Birthday stamp from, I think could have been an old paper pumpkin kit, and we're going to use that on the inside. So we are going to stamp in Blueberry Bushel ink. So let's get this open. My goodness. I also don't use this color very much. Alright, so let's ink this one up. It really is a pretty color blue. I don't know why I don't use it very often, but I just don't. But maybe we're going to start trying to use it more. So let's line this up on the glass mat so that it is hopefully straight when we start. And that somewhat gives me a shot to get it down straight. There's always no promises though. Okay, not bad. So we're going to put that right down there. And then our happy birthday on the inside. So we'll ink this up. Line this up here. So we start with it straight. And we'll get our happy birthday down. There we go. All right, we're going to put this ink back away. And let's get this card finished. So let me see if I can grab another bottle of glue. We'll see if there's anything left in. Yeah, this one's got glue in it. Okay, that's good. All right, so we're going to get this on the inside here. So we're going to just do this right here and center that up. Okay. Perfect. And then I'm going to put our sentiment piece up on some dimensionals so we can give this just a little added extra dimension. So I'm just going to put like 3 across here. And we'll peel our backs off. And we're going to center this up right down here at the bottom. Just something like that. Looks pretty good. All right, so just like that. Last thing we need is some bling. I've got some of our antique pearls here that I thought would go good with this one. So let's see what we want to do here. We're going to start with a big one. And I think I'm going to put one there. And then a medium-sized one here. And we'll do another medium-sized one over here. Okay, perfect. So there's our first card. That didn't take any time at all. All right, let's move on to our second one. So we've got this one. We're going to start with piece of basic gray here. That's 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. And I'm going to give this a good burnish. Just like this. I've got a piece for the inside that's 4 by 5 1/4. That's white. And then on our outside, I've got a piece of this is half of one of the card bases that came in the kit that I've trimmed down to, let's see, I think this one is a little bigger than normal. So let's see, it is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. So we're going to put that as our first layer. So we'll get glue on here. And I'm just going to take this and this is going to leave the very tiniest of border around this piece. It just has the gray peeking out a little. Okay. And then our next layer is Misty Moonlight. And this is 4 by 5 1/4. And I lied, it is not. It is 3 3/4 by 5. So that's going to be our next one. So we'll get glue on this. Again, going to center it up. So we'll get this one down like that. Give that a good press. All right, now I've got some squares here that I cut that are 1 inch square, and these are all out of pieces of the envelope. So I've got 3 of the blue ones and 3 of these light pink. And these light pink ones have this same pattern in it like these blue ones do, but you can barely see it. So we've got 6 of those in total, and I've got 2 little hearts that I cut out of one of the other card bases, the pink card base. We're going to put those down in a second. I'm going to take these, and this is a banner strip that came in the kit. It's that very light pink. We're going to take these 6 squares, and we are going to just alternate them. I'm going to put the lid back on my glue before it clogs up on us. And I'm just going to alternate 1 pink, 1 blue. So something like this. And we're just going to make us a little checkerboard pattern here, like this. And then we're going to put our hearts over here and our sentiment at the bottom. So let's get out. I'm going to use actually some seal for these, just because I think it will be a little better than glue, because I want to make sure I can get them straight. And so if I just use the seal, I can pop them right back off if I can't get them lined up the way I want them. So we'll just put a little bit of seal on the back of each one of these. And I'm just going to kind of lay that down very lightly. And then we'll mess with the spacing once I get seal on all of them. So it doesn't take very much of this, particularly for these. These are, since they're envelope paper, they're very thin. So you have to be kind of careful with them, because you'll rip them a lot sooner than you rip cardstock. So, one more. Alright, let's see if we can get these lined up the way we want. Let's see, I'm going to move this one up just a tad bit there. I think that one looks pretty good. We're going to move this one to the right, just like that. And that looks not too bad. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and commit to these. Okay, so there's that. Now we've got our 2 little hearts that we're going to put just kind of catty-cornered here, like that, something like that. Let's see how I want these. All right, that looks pretty good. We'll use seal on these too, as long as we've got it out. Okay, so we're going to put one up here in this corner, and this one we're going to do this way, right down here. Okay, now, last but not least, we're going to do our stamping. So we're going to stamp in Misty Moonlight. But since I'm going to use the same stamps that we just used on our first card, so before I do that, I'm just going to clean them quickly, because I don't want to get the Blueberry Bushel ink into our Misty Moonlight ink. So let's get these cleaned up. There we go. All right, now we're going to start with this little piece that we're going to put on the outside, and we're going to do the Just For You again. So we'll ink this up. And we'll straighten this so we have that hopefully as straight as possible. And we'll get this down just like that. I'm going to give that just a couple of seconds for the ink to transfer to the paper. Okay, so we've got our piece that goes down here. And then let's get our happy birthday. And we'll get that. Okay, I want to make sure it's just a plain piece of white. Get that down here. Just like that. All right, we're going to put this ink away. Oh my goodness. Not that it wants to close. There we go. All right, so let's get this on the inside. Which one of these has glue in it? I need to throw this one away. It is empty. All right, so we're going to get this on our inside, just like this. And we're going to straighten that up, because that is nowhere near straight. Let's try again. There we go. That looks much better. Get that excess glue off of there. Back out on the front, we're going to once again use some dimensionals on our sentiment piece here, because we just want to give it a little bit of lift that creates interest on your card. All right, so get the backs off of this, and we will put this right down here at the bottom. So kind of like that. Perfect. And we need bling for this one, so we'll use some more of our pearls. I have a lot of these pearls, so we might as well... You know what? I changed my mind. I think we're going to use these strawberry slush ones here, because I had those sitting here as well. So we might as well use some pink ones. So let's see. Let's use the darker ones. And I think we'll just do one there and one here. And we'll call that a day. All right. So pretty. So these are our two cards. Neither one very hard at all. Didn't take us too long there. So don't forget to hit that like and subscribe, and ring that bell so you get notified every time I upload a video. And like I said, this is our last one for January. And the next paper pumpkin is going to be the February one, which I think has kind of an Easter theme to it. So that'll be fun. So I hope to see you all again really soon. And that's all I've got for today. Have a great evening. Bye.